The past couple of months, almost a year now, has been really just crafting central. I work a normal job, and the time that I have at home, I like to spend crafting. So here are 4 projects that I did the past year that were my favorite ones and I was most proud of, starting with clay fridge magnets. These were all over Pinterest. I kept seeing them and I really wanted to try them, so I carved them, painted them, did all that stuff. I have a lot to learn, so I'll share all of that, or I learned a lot and I'll share all of that, as well as I bought my first sewing machine, taught myself how to beginner sew, very, very, very beginner. I learned how to watercolor a tad bit on a micro level because I just drew little birds on my wedding invitations that I sent out earlier this year for my wedding that was in February of this year. And then the last thing I did was I learned how to embroider, and I embroidered a little gardening apron for my sister. So I wanted to talk about all of these and how it worked, what I learned, everything in between. First, with the fridge clay magnets. By far, this took the longest out of anything else that I did this year. I had been working on these for maybe 2 full months, like a little bit at a time, because it was a very step-by-step process. Obviously, the first step was buy the clay. I bought air dry clay from Amazon. I started to shape them as they were moist, as the clay was moist. And from there, I let it dry. I probably should have baked them in the oven or something else because they started to fall apart a little bit. So you live and you learn. I learned a lot from this, which I can share the main things I would do differently next time. But once they were all dry, I started to actually paint them one by one. Every single magnet was a little bit different. The shape was different. It was a whole different item. There were blueberries, then there was dinosaurs, there was shopping bags, totes. It really just went all over the place. So painting took a really long time. Each one needed at least 3 coats on it for it to look nice and professional. So that took a while because everything had different colors and shades. But that was no worry to me because I love painting, and so this was one of my favorite parts. I think the carving was one of the hardest parts and most frustrating because things would break, and that was definitely a big learning curve as well. So each piece had to get a couple coats of paint on it. I don't know if acrylic paint was the best. There's probably better paints out there, but they actually turned out really cute. This is just a handful of them that I think I was giving to my sister, and I thought they turned out cuter than I had ever dreamed of. I was shocked that you can tell what they were. The next thing that I had to do in this process was add the resin. There's probably a better way to do this. Again, this was totally a learning experience. I did not know really what I was doing this whole time. I barely researched what resin to use, and I think I should have done it differently because once it was painted, I started to paint on the resin and let that dry, and then I painted a second coat. I let that dry, but unfortunately doing it this way left it chunky, and people are probably watching and screaming at me because I'm probably doing this in such a weird way. Next time I would definitely try to get a tray of some sort, put all the magnets on there, and then drizzle the resin on there and just let it drip down. But I don't really know. If you know the best YouTube channel that talks about this, or if you know the best resin or the way to do this, please let me know. I would love to try all of this again and do it in an actual professional good way, because I really want to do this again, but research more so how to solidify the clay, which paint is the best to use on this specific type of clay, what resin is the best to use, how do I make it look a certain way, and I would just do a lot more research. But this was just for gifts for my sister and my mom, so I wasn't that concerned with them breaking because I would just give them another one and make them more, which I plan to do because they already said some of them started breaking. So you live and you learn. This was a bit of a tough one for me. There was a lot of steps. Everything was very time consuming, but I actually did have a lot of fun, believe it or not. And I would do this again 100%. I think I would just make sure that they're way better quality and research the crap out of everything this time around. So maybe I'll do another YouTube video soon with doing this more step by step and a more in-depth explanation of what I did, how I did this, what the best way to do with this is according to some of the research that I will do but have not done yet. the vibe. This is my invite. On the other side, I just have this photo with these photos. And then for the envelope, I'm putting lace on, well, I guess maybe you can see it this way. I'm putting lace on the side like this. There we go. So it just looks like this. And then I'm probably gonna hot glue or super glue it closed. So they're gonna have to basically destroy it. That's the vibe, so I just have to do only like 20 of these, I think. So I'm gonna get through these tonight and then I'll be donezo. Okay, things have gone a little bit out of hand. I thought, oh, maybe it'd be cute if I did a little bit of watercolor. Now I'm full on like, I'll draw this bow and I'll draw a little pigeon, not a pigeon, a dove on every single one. So now I'm trying to draw a dove on every single one. I need to be stopped, but I can't stop. Like, that's cute. That's cute. I'm trying to find the exact green, but like the bow is really cute and that's really cute. I literally can't stop. I cannot stop. Also, those are hearts. Those aren't. Okay, so here I am on Christmas morning, I believe, and I had about 2 months left, and I had to get these wedding invitations out ASAP. So I spent all Christmas morning painting each and every invitation. There were not that many. There's maybe like 15, I think, total, or maybe less. I think there's maybe only like 10 that I had to send out because it was a small wedding. It was a very peaceful morning, and it was very peaceful to just watercolor. I started to really fall in love with the way you're able to make the details look so, the little details just come out beautifully in watercolor, and it's fun that it's so delicate almost. Like, you can mess up watercoloring really easily, I learned. Maybe you can fix it easy too, but I'm not practiced enough. But I was proud of how they were turning out, and I would do this again for sure. I want to get better at this.
You did your job. The black and the white.
So that the future hangs in the balance.
Nice, those look good.
Thanks. Okay, this was the biggest one that I did for sure in the past year. I have never sewn a day in my life, nor have I taken one single class or watched one single YouTube video before this. But my sister asked me to help her make some birthday banners, like 4 different kinds, and I said, sure. I've always wanted to buy a sewing machine. I've always been interested, so I went and I bought one. The funny thing was, I'm so beginner that I didn't know what string or thread to buy, so I bought the wrong thread, and I had to go back to Michael's and buy more actual sewing thread that goes with a sewing machine. So that is how beginner I was. I watched one YouTube video on how to set up a sewing machine because that was by far the most challenging part at the beginning. Was like, it just was so intimidating to look at the sewing machine, that you had to thread yourself, that you had to figure out how to not basically break. And as somebody who unfortunately breaks a lot of things because I don't know why, it's a curse and a gift, I guess. But thanks to lovely YouTubers, I was able to figure out how to get started and use the sewing machine. I was actually shocked that I got the hang of it after a while. Like, I understood how to set it up. I understood how to do this part, which I already forgot what it's called. It's like a bobbin, I believe. The older I get, the more, if something is intimidating to me, I say bring it on, even if I don't feel like doing it. But I'm like, you know what? If this is hard, awesome. I love hard things. And so I figured out how to thread this, and I set it up multiple times, and I started to just practice setting up the machine, because I always heard that that's kind of the hardest part getting started, at least, is just understanding how to use the machine. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but it was hard for me to learn. This also took me forever to figure out how to thread the needle on the machine. It said it had like a it would thread it for you, but I don't know the verbiage, so I did not understand what they were trying to say and tell me. But I started to learn eventually, and I started on some of the little patches that we had already cut out to start one of the long banners. That's just going to be like a square patched banner to hang along the birthday party. We had already cut these out previously, and it was just time to sew these and kind of fold over the fabric and cut them on a long string. So here I am figuring it out all on my own. Was it executed perfectly? Not even close, but I'm a beginner, so all I expected was to learn, and that's what I did.
Making a banner. Oh no, vlogception.
Are you vlogging, Chelsea? Vlogging?
Let's see this first one.
Are you vlogging?
That was so quick, I feel like I literally... How did... Or even like, and then how are you gonna sew this on to the... Let me see that. Is there a hole in here? Is there a hole in this here?
I could also cut a long piece of like another like white fabric or one of the fabrics and clamp it.
Oh yeah, wait, look. We left a hole, so we can just shove it in there.
Why left a hole?
You didn't really sew that good. What is wrong?
At this point, I understood the very basics of the sewing machine and the threading patterns, so I was almost done with the long banners. I just had a couple little smaller banners to go, which I kind of just sewed, I guess more like embroidered by hand because I wanted the thick, chunky string look, and I didn't know how to use a sewing machine for that. So here I am the morning of in the bathroom. But we finished. We got all the banners done just in time, morning of, but it worked out.
Fully right up. No. Beans coming up.
Pretty cool. Are you nervous? Does it hurt, Keaton? So all together, we did 4 different banners. We did the first one, the happy birthday. We did the little flag one that went by his cake where he was eating. We did a number 1 because he turned 1. And then the last one was just all of the denim banners. The last craft we are attempting is embroidering a gardening apron for my sister's 30th birthday weekend getaway party thing. So I kind of already had everything planned. I mapped it out on my iPad in Procreate, but it kind of started to shift a little bit once I got more confident with the basics of embroidery. I kind of just brought all my embroidery stuff with me wherever I went. Like, this is us going to the beach and biking down, and I just had to bring my embroidery stuff because it was and has become a fun hobby of mine just for fun, to just learn different tricks with embroidery. It was really fun to watch a new YouTube video or watch a random Instagram reel about how to make a rose or how to make a perfect circle and just random stuff like that. And it was a really fun thing to learn. I could totally see myself learning more and more, and this becoming a little bit of a staple of mine because I had so much fun. And you can just create whatever you want. Any idea that comes to your head, you can just figure it out. You just use some of the basics of embroidery and then you add them all together. You try new things, and it was just actually really fun and exciting. So I'm glad I tried it because now I know that I really love to embroider, and it's a really cool, fun little hobby of mine now. And it was also a really inexpensive hobby to start. I mean, a lot of the stuff is cheap on Amazon or at Michael's. You can find them kind of at any craft store, and they have so many different colors for the threads and the string for this. And I just had a lot of fun with the colors and the color schemes. The second thing I wanted to add to this apron was because I learned the basics of sewing as well. I was like, okay, I want to patch a little flower and just some cute little, I don't know, I just wanted to try out patchwork. I've seen it done. I just think it's so cute and homemade. And so I tried out some patchwork on this apron. There probably is a better way to do this, but I don't know. This was a little bit tricky to do because the apron is so chunky because it's a gardening apron and it's made out of denim. So it was a little bit hard to maneuver around the sewing machine, but I did it and it hasn't fallen apart yet, and it looked okay, I think. So that was fun to do patchwork. I definitely want to try something like that again. Something that I've learned from doing all of these different things this year is I appreciate the time that goes into people's crafts, and as well as I'm glad that I didn't just watch videos and think that I was getting better by watching a million videos and never actually trying any of these new things. But it felt good to actually be hands-on, get my hands dirty, get in the nitty-gritty of it, learn how frustrating it is when you're embroidering and then the strings get caught and tied in a knot and then you have to like cut it and figure it out, because you just don't really learn those things unless you're doing it hands-on. So I definitely learned that it's best to just start and then learn as you go, as well as watch those videos. Like, you can do them all. So if there's something that you wanted to try out there, just try it. Get some cheap material and just start. And if you want to continue, then buy more stuff, actually take classes, get more serious about it. But I think if you're just interested in trying something, just pick it up and start trying it and see.
Trained to be tame, nature gave a new name, source to nurture the world, ready, sing a new tune, weight of it all won't get me down. All that a silence set free.
Hello, welcome to my farm. I didn't see you there. This is where I feed my horses their first feed a day. My favorite dog's buried right there. My family's had this land for generations. And I sold it for a parking lot.
Tell me secrets, power of words. Tell me stories, legends before. Ones who ran with the wolves, broke free, free from